Okay, so we're on page Tuf, according to my calculation. Tuf Kuf. Uh, what is that? Kuf Tuf. All right. Anyway, so let's go. V'vushol I chochi im came hu hadava. This is what we're talking about. Shehashlosh spheros netzachod yisod. I guess that was our subject here. We're talking about the nine. Shehem bechinas raglayim. Heim levar begufa. They're outside of the body. Bechutz leguf. Shazer anpin. V'lekei ne'achazet bechem klipos. So therefore, apparently, we learned that there's something about the body which is able to repel the klipos. But the lower nai, the nai is not that, not like that, because it's bechutz leguf. My va'amda ragla biyomachu. So what does it mean? Heich amar va'amda ragla biyomachu. How do we say that he put his feet on that day b'milchamas gog umogol la'asid devo. So here we talk about feet. Perusha she'az yimkol min aklipos b'koach haraglayim ha'alyono. So this is he's be able to use the upper feet. What are the upper feet? So we say what? I'm not sure. So whenever we're using the word legs, feet, who rak bisman hagalos, it's only at this time. When the klipos lose their strength and it's null of their source of energy is cut off for them, Raglim de gufa az gam spheres netzachod yisod hanikros raglayim yihi beklal haguf shel zer anpin, this goof which has the ability to keep the klipos away. V'lechem nikros az raglov. So then it's called his feet. Koloma raglov shel haguf. That is the feet that belong to the goof. It's part of the goof. Shehus spheres at the feres shel zer anpin, which of course is the feres of zer anpin. So he says like this, he says, Ma'regum de dinim, me'eved nukmin, va'az yihya nekroyim elu haraglayim b'shem bali adin, because then they're the masters of din. That is, v'chol shoresh umakom yanikos hasitra achra, and every place that the sitra achra can suck off of, ki oz kavar yisbata habyanikos aklipos min raglayim, because now they're already nullified, because I guess it's incorporated in the body. So all they're going to have then is going to be Yanika of Dinim Kedoshim. And then it brings out the Nakama into the klipos and starts fighting. And they're called the masters of feet, or the possessors of feet. These ones that are sending out this din, Nekroyim Bali Raglayim, they're called foot masters. Lefi Yonkim min Asfiras Netzachod Yisod, because they're able to what? To nurse off of the spheros of the Nai Nekroyim Raglayim, which are called feet. Ominachom Tekifim. Now there's some of them that are very strong. Mechem Yesh Bali Adinim Kashrim, but Tekifim, some of these Bali Dinim are very tough. Shal Yadim Ta'asach on the Kambach of the Klipos, because through them, that's how they're going to be able to take out the Nakama on the Klipos. Mis'achter of Marechem the Dinim, the Lasata, Kivsarim Tatoim, Ve'edach of Balach Dinim, Atachtonim. So these lower Bali Dinim, Hatachtonim Ochsim, as Asfiras Tachtonim Shal the Klipos, they're able to grab a hold of the lower spheros of the Klipos. That is of the klipos, shelo yihyu mishotetos ba'olam, and make them stop them from being able to wander or fly throughout the world. Eli yihyu kupuyim, but instead of be suppressed by bekoma benukva the Tehoma Rabba, in this place called the Nukva the Tehoma Rabba. Okay, so I'm trying to get my breath here still. It's a little hard schedule if I'm going to try to do what I'm doing now, but I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this like exactly the same way. Tana Lamando, so we're learning like this. Call Inan Tikundi de la Elo de Begufa de Kedisha Klala de Adam. He says, Call Elo Hatikunim Elyonim, all the upper Tikunim. The Haino, call Prate Avarim, all the different, he says, limbs. Ashecha Beguf HaKodesh Zer Anpin, which are inside of the body of Zer Anpin. Shehu klal ha'adam elyon. We're saying Zer Anpin, and so he wants to say that he uses the word klal, but he's an incorporator, but this is the incorporation aspect of Zer Anpin. Because all the kedusha is inside of him at the same time. That each one of them, therefore, all of these. Let me see what we're talking about. All of these different traits. I guess he's Now, when he said the word Evarim, I wasn't real 100% sure what he means by that. And so they're all in there together, and then they develop a sense of each other. Shekol echad margish as Evarim hacherim. Each one of them has some kind of connection with all the others. I think that's what it means. But Tama Dover, so the thing is like this: who ismashek da min da. Ki al yedei havridim v'chagidim. So through the different veins and sinews of the body, nemshachim dam me'ever zeh ve'ever zeh. This is like the connection between all things have this blood going through them. It was a machnem da b'da. So this is the same metaphor over here of how these different. What do we talk about? Bali dinim. He says, "Kol inin tekundi to the aid of the goof of the gish and klal of the adam." So all of these things that are incorporated, it's all the kedusha inside of this man. Is of al yedei kain kach misachdim mischabrim chavarim zeh b'zeh va'ashkon da l'da, and they feed each other. V'chavarim mashkim es or hamochim zeh l'zeh, so they pour the or of these mochim on each other. Kama the ismeshek dama bekitvim, so that how he translates kitvim as paths. The veridim, like the paths of the blood vessels. The door goes from one station to the next. I guess one vessel to the next vessel. The hacha to this side to that side. Ma'aser dad la'aser achra from one side to the next. Kamo adam hanimshak b'shlilich veridim bagidim, like the blood that's going through your sinews and veins. Lezeh, and again he's pointing out this idea they go from one to the other. So they're kind of sharing, or at the same time, l'chan l'chan. So one place and goes to another place. V'inin mashkin the gufa, that this is the watering system of the body. Ashken da da, minharin da b'da. So they water each other, they work together, and they shine on each other. Let's look at the head of Zer Anpin. Mashka the kol the from the tower. So this is the waterfall, let's say, so to speak, where everything starts flowing out of here. Besod hadas, and what is that? Let me just read it back again. V'kach gam hamochim shebarosh Zer Anpin. So he said the mochim, right? And das is really the I guess the single channel from the other two. In other words, it makes a Y. So he says anpin, mashka the kol the goof, it waters the whole body, and this is the secret of das. I mean, it's pasha because goof zer anpin that spreads in the entire goof of zer anpin. Mashka b'zeh, and it winds up watering from one to the next. Besod mayim shal tipas adas. So this is the secret of water, which are drops of das. He says, and once again, he says they wind up, like lighting each other up. They shine one to the next. Again, that's the same phrase, besod or shel tipas hadas. And this is the secret of the light of the tipas hadas, just like it spread, our blood spreads in our bodies, so we have this das coming. Ad the anhiru kulu omim, until everything gets illuminated. That should be spashted the shefach of the or so the yichud. Now then the light. Now this is the interesting part here, I think maybe. So the shefach of this light, it comes into the concept of yichud. Umeir l'kol olamos, and when the yichud takes place, then it shines into all the rest of the world. Mizbarakan beginehum, and they're blessed because of them. Because the olamos makablim tel sefesh shefach of bracha mekoich hayichud azeh. So now, there was something missing in my understanding is that these lights are shining one to the next, and they're completely lighting themselves up. And then he introduced the idea of a yichud. But I didn't see how you got from, one to the next. So anyway, that's how the yichud always implies male and female. So let me see what we got here now. Now, we have something called klala de gufa kadisha. Okay, so let's see what he's talking about. The klala kedusha means the general incorporation of the holy body. Now, what holy body is he talking about? And he's been talking about different. He has different kinds of languages. He's been using the word Adam. He used a lot different things. So he says Tana. So we learn like this: Kol inen kesarim, kol ki kol elu hasfiro she'enecha b'tzad kedusha. Now, which spheros are not on the side of Kedusha? What exactly does he mean by that? I'm not sure that we develop it here. Let's see. Again, Kol Eilach HaSephiros She'ena Mitzad Kedusha. Lo Iskala the Beguf, and as a result of that, they're not incorporated into the body Kedusha. Shado Nichlala Begufa Elyon. Vein Lechem Shum Hiskala the Kedusha, and they're not able to become, it's not shaykh to them, that they should become Iskala Bekedusha. Even if you talk about the body itself, even not on the outside of the body of Zeranpin. So therefore, he's using these words sphera, right? So he says sphero. So so all of them are distant out, and they're all tome. Hine kol elohim mitoavim u'mitameim. So they're disgusting and tamek. So let me move it over here 1 second. And he says, "V'tameim u'misavim kol man de yikrach de benechem lemindach minachom milin." So let me see these words again. They make also others, anyone who comes near to them, man de yikruvu the gabehum, they try to come near to them. And what do they want to do to come near to them? Leminda minachom milin. These are the spheros that are outside, to be able to understand for them different words. In order to know mehem, divrei asidos, in order to know the future. Okay, so that's a person. So what's he saying about? He's saying about these spheros, which are not part of the Guf Kodesh. So they're klipos, something like that. You want to come near to that because if somehow from there you could find something about the future. Tana, we learn like this. So he translates, Malku Taivas are klipos. What is it that the klipos want? They really want to be close or to cling to the bodies of the Talmidei Chachamim. Yosef b'Shabbat Adam more than any other human. Because there they see that there's a holy body. That they have there a holy body. Because, listen to this, because they use their body, that they use their body, so therefore it has an effect on their bodies. And they also get involved in Torah. This is what they use their bodies for. Where neshama by itself can't do anything. So therefore you need the body in order to be able to do this. I think it's a really pretty idea. So therefore they enter into the bodies of the tzaddikim. I think we're talking about the spheros, he said, that are not part of the kedusha. So he said they enter in acher patirasam, but only after they're dead. Kedei the hanas mehem, to try to get something from it. They'll suck a little life out of their deadness. The skalo al yadam begufa kodesh shel zer anpen, and there's a whole crazy idea here, but that's what he said. So he says in order to have some kind of hiskalos with the gufa kodesh shel zer anpen. Okay, so different kinds of ideas. So let's say that's true. So this is the thing, the way we're talking about it. What? No nechlala begufa kodesh. So now we're putting a word on those spheros. That was just pointed that out, that the word spheros there is used when he's talking about klipos. So he says shaha klipos lo nechlala begufa kodesh. They're not part of the holy guf. Shal zer anpin. As a result of that, they're tameim. That is a definition of tuma in a funny way, because if you're not kodesh, then you are tomei. Yesh l'shol, so you have to. This is a malach of kadishim of v'leis chom bechlalu de gufa. Wait a minute, what about malachim? Shaharich malachim heim kadoshim. There's kedusha there. After the chayre rabedon the chlala begufa kodesh, but we see that they're not part of the gufa kodesh. They're anpen. V'im came ein hechrach lomer shachar klipos. So therefore, it's not necessary to have to say shachar klipos shalom the chlala begufa kodesh shazer anpen heim tameim. So you don't have to say they're tameim, because obviously others that are not part of the gufa kodesh, like malachim, so for example, they're not tamei. So why should we say that these are tamei? The meishiv law, but that's not right. And the davar came. No, it's not like that. But the malachim are part of the gufa kodesh shel zer anpen. The chas v'shalom leheaven levad mechlal the gufa kedisha lo chava kedishim. Ki im chas v'shalom, God forbid, choyach malachim l'chutz mechlal gufa kodesh. If the malachim some way were not part of the gufa kodesh shel zer anpen, as lo choya kadosh, and then they wouldn't be kadosh, right? Below miskaime, so they wouldn't be able to sustain themselves. They wouldn't live. V'gam choya chayim and miskaimim lo'olam, they wouldn't be here. But in the future, there will be misvatel also, just like the klipos. Maybe Raish Amalachim the chlala begufa kodesh, but now he wants to say, but it has to be that they're part of the gufa kodesh, and you bring a raya shel zer anpen, a kodesh. Excuse me, a beguf a kodesh shel zer anpen. So he says the chesiv, and it's written like this. Okay, kikasav b'malach. So it's written about the malach shechoya nira the denil b'mara. So this is about the malach that appeared to Daniel. Ugviyasach katarshis. And its backside, I think that's what it means. Pirish Shemara Gufa Choyuk Ayin Mare Avin Tarshish. So I looked at down here. He had a little note down here at the very bottom, and he says that Tarshish. You probably know what a Tarshish is. I don't know what it is, but he says Anoita the Mare Techelis, Hatechelis. So it looks a little bit like the color of the sea, or the color of Techelis. So something like that. So he says their backside is like this, and the V'mara Gaviyasach Katarshis Pirush Shemare Gufa Choyuk Ayin Mara Evan Tarshis. So the appearance of its body. Now, which body are we talking about? I'm a little lost. He said V'charish Sheyesh L'Malachim Bechinas Guf. So therefore we say, this they're talking about a malach. So the malach has a goof that looks like this. V'charish Sheyesh L'Malachim Bechinas Guf. So if it has a backside like this, it has a body. Kedugmas Adam Elyon, and so therefore it's in the image of the upper man, which is Zer Anpen. I guess that's what that means. Because if a Kain Kosev is also written like this, written like this, Be'inyan Suras Malachim. It reads like this: V'gabosam Maleos Einayim, and they said their backsides are filled with eyes. So they have some concept of limbs, so different parts. And also they have eyes like man. So we're seeing that he's comparing the fact that there are different descriptions of malachim that have the same attributes that man has. So he's saying that these are rayas, that they're really talking about that the malachim are part of the Gufa Kodesh because they look like the Gufa Kodesh, or they have attributes of the Gufa Kodesh. So Elyon. V'chein Kosev, it says al Malach Gavriel, v'cha Ish Gavriel, it says that he's a man. Ha'recha shemalach nikra Ish, shehu kinter the bechinas partzav, which is the concept here we have of what Zer Anpin is, a light processing system. It's for refining and limiting the light of the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, shehu kinter the bechinas partzav. So that's another way of saying the word partzav. Kulchu b'chlal the Adam. So all of them are incorporated in the concept of man. So now we see that the word malachim and the word Adam are going together, so therefore they're also incorporated in the Adam Elyon, Shehu Zer Anpen, Bar Mechane Deleis Chom b'chlal the Gufa, and that therefore, since we're including angels So now we're going to exclude everybody else. Chutz min elu haklipos, and they're the klipos, which are images of some size. It's hard to understand what klipos are. She'ena b'klal gufa kodesh dezer anpin, that are not part of the of kedusha. So in a way, he's making a distinction that if we have an understanding of what kedusha means, and to be kadosh, so anything that works against it is outside of it. It's not part of it. And it's in that sense, that's what he seems to be saying. The inim misavim kol man the yikra b'chadaihu, because these are unfit to become kadosh. And so therefore anybody gets closer to b'shehem tameim mitamim as kol mi sheyiskar v'etzlam. Kedei das b'chem divrei chasidav g'yot b'zeh. So what do you get out of them? So that's some kind of witchcraft. In order to be able to get to these kali, let me just read it again. Shehem tameim mitamim as kol mi sheyiskar v'etzlam. So who would want to go to these klipos? In order to know the future, and other things. Or in other places like in the Zohar where they use them to hurt people, curse, stuff like that. Okay, Vitana, the Madno. So we learn like this. Kuhu merucha the smolo. So all the thing comes from the left side. The lo is basam ba'adam mishtatchim. What does this mean? Ya klipos v'hashedim v'haruchos. They all come from a ruach, which is on the left. Now, so I would say that ruach is like the body of Zeir Anpin. I could see that ruach is like that, but it's the left side of it. Ruach hasmol shalom nizbasam v'nimtak ba'adam harishon, was never sweetened by Adam harishon ki b'shah nivra Adam harishon, from the moment that he was born. Hoya kolu b'shnei ruchos yom, in his small, he had two different ruchos. So, like I say, I've always said that I'm fascinated by the word ruchos. So, what he means by it, but then when he got involved and he sinned, so what happened then was these shadim and ruchos rose and so on and so forth. But bechinas tipos carry the concept of wasted seed. And similar to that. So let me just see, I think I lost it. Bechinas tipos carry, and similar to Kitz's carry. So this is actually coming from a very high place. That's where it comes out, the klipos, v'shedim, v'ruchos, besod, tipos carry. So now he nails what they are. They're whatever thought they are. Whatever carry actually carries with it. Unfako meklala de gufa kadisha, ve'elu hashedim veruchos veklipos, yotze meklalos haguf hakodesh shel zer anpin. So they come out from the general category of the guf of zer anpin, below is dabku bey, but they're not able to cling on to him. Now, let me just read the words. These ruchos, ros, etc. Yotzim eklalos haguf. They come out from there. For the guf hakodesh shechel b'zer anpin, below is dabku, but they're not able to stay with him. Ve'enam mizdavkim ba. El klipos noga, but rather instead they cling to the klipos noga. And somehow I think I read this wrong, but let me go on. Begin kach kulhu misavim, and because of this, everything gets targeted. Everything becomes tame. So I think what it means is that it doesn't actually reach. They come and they're outside of the kedusha of Zer Anpin, and they're clinging, but they're clinging to the klipas noga. So he said, "But begin kach kulhu misaven," and because of this, everything becomes tame. Vichach heim tameim, they become tame. Matmeim as called misha miskar v'lechem, and they make tame everybody that comes near to them. V'azlim v'ta'asim alma, and they start flying over the whole world. V'chem holchim v'shmshot ba'olim ve'in lechem benucha, and they don't stop. V'avaylim benukva d'dechom Rabba, and then they go into a place called the depth or the pit of the female, of the great female. So I guess it's benukva, the female attribute of that attribute of her, which is the Tehom Rabba. V'hem neknasim b'nekev the Tehom Rabba. That's how they go into that hole. Shehu sod bina shal klipas noga. So he's telling us that in the klipas noga there's 10 spheros, and then in that klipa noga, it's the bina of that one, the heichel hashvi, which is the highest place of the lower. In other words, the seventh heichel in the bina, but the bina is the bina of klipa ha'elyon, the olam abriya. So the klipa is in the olam abriya, so the highest place of the steps. Those steps are in bria, the heichelos. It's on the highest level of that, but not in kedusha, but outside, very close to kedusha, but outside. Asher sham shakua chelik hara shel shorish nishmas kaim, and this is the place, this particular place. It's the place that is stored. This seventh heichel of olam abriya, of tuma, there is where sunk into that place, or deposited in that place, is chelik hara shel shorish nishmas kaim, is that evil portion of the root of the neshama of Kain. So what's happening here now? So now the is dab dina kademah. What do they want to do? They want to cling to that earlier din. Kadei lihizdavek b'koach hadinim harishon shal Kain, in order to be able to get into those really, really deep dinim. Hashakua sham benukva to the baraba, which are there sunken into this pit that they are going to. The Ikre Kain. This place, this pit, is also called by the name Kain. It's Kain's name. V'lakach nikro b'shem Kain, l'fi she'elu hashedim, v'ruchos v'klipos mizdavkim bo, because they cling to that place. V'hu tikun hamadar shalachem, tikain, it's like a hakan, excuse me. Hu hakan v'hamadar shalachem. So this is where they live. The nafik v'klal the gufa the desata is v'ratam shehem rotzim lehizdavik b'kayin hu. Why do they want to be part of Kain? The shekayin yatz v'klal gufa tachton, because he came out from the lower body ayidei zivug Adam v'chava. He's a product of the children of Adam v'chava. So he's very close, I guess, to whatever kedusha they originally had or had. V'lakach elu hatipos carry. So therefore, then these tipos carry sheyatzechem in a zachar below gufa tachton shanukva, and where the zachar is basically wasting his speed without a woman. Hein misavin lihizdaveg b'kayin. These all want to get back to Kain and to cling to him, a misarvim bo, and they mix in with him, because Kain is actually from the goof that they don't have. So therefore, they want that place. V'shatim v'tasim kol alma. Then hashedim, az hashedim v'haruchos haklipos ha'elu m'shotedim of ofavim kol oilim tachton. They start flying all over the world. B'koach his dafchus v'his kalalus b'kayin hashakua b'nukva to the Choma Rabba, because have been able to reach the place they need to go, which is the place where Kain, the neshama of Kain, is located. It's a big power of evil. Or parchon v'lo misdabkon b'klal of the gufa. V'rotzen lehistavik b'gufas atachtonim, and he wants to what? To cling to this lower bodies. Shenechlalim b'gufa kodesh elyon, in which have some attachment to the upper body, the real kodesh body. V'avahim porchon, but they fly away. And therefore they're not able to really get a hold of that body. Again, kach, and for this reason, ina levad mikol mishirin to the eila v'sata. L'chein heim mechutz l'kol ha'machnos elyonos. So therefore, they have to fly away. They're away from all of the machnos elyonim, ba'tachtonim, and the lower also shel tzad kedusha. Mivisavenin with their tumah, the tomatik, tmeim heim. B'chu k'sev, in regards to them, b'chutz l'machana moshava, outside, they have to stay outside, the place will be. V'chem k'sev, in regards to them, it said, b'chutz l'machana moshava, outside will be where he will dwell. V'shehem b'chutz l'machana shal ha'avarim, because they're outside of the campment of the limbs, hakadoshim shal Adam Kadosh Elyon of Zer Anpin, the Adam Elyon. V'heim kumot tumot tzaras. They're like a tzaras. They're like a leprosy. Shahametzora mishtaleach mechutz l'shlosh machanos, where the person who has this leprosy is sent outside of the three camps. Okay, that's it for today. To figure out how to make this work a little easier for me. You still there? Yeah. Wow, did I lose you?
Yeah, my phone got disconnected.
Oh, where were you? Where were we?
By Kain. Kain.
Do you want to go over that?
Yeah, I guess tomorrow. Tomorrow I guess we'll go back there.
Okay, so I'll start over here on a little earlier page. Okay?
Okay.
Call to.
All right.
Bye-bye. Oh, that was hard.